ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शांति शांति शांति. Namaskar my dear friend, this is video number 3 on Sathya Bai's divine message to the mankind through his divine discourses. The topic is Earn God's Love. From the Sat has emerged all there is. The Sat permeates the whole of creation. Nothing exists without the power of Sat. Behold the glory of this eternal Sat. Tossed about on the bitter ocean of mundane existence, going hither and hither without a rudder or a compass. If only you steady your mind for a moment, the Lord of Sri will send you, O man, his rescue boat. The love of God is the foremost reward to be attained in human life. It is more precious than all the wealth in the world. All wealth and position are obtained by the love and grace of the divine. The value of Bhagavata Prema, the love of God, can be realized only if the meaning of the term Bhagwan is rightly understood. Brahma, Shabda are among the terms used as appellations of Bhagwan. The term Bhagwan is the sweetest of all them. The true meaning of Bhagwan. Bhaga means the one who is a repository of all divine attributes and is uniquely worthy of adoration. Ga refers to one who has all the excellence and who creates, sustains and reabsorbs everything. The letter Bha has two meanings, Sambharta and Bharta. Sambharta means one who is competent to make nature the instrument of the creative process. Because he is also competent to sustain what is created, he is called Bharta. Bha has other meanings as Shanti, peace, light, effulgence, illumination. Ga means all pervasive. One or one to do in Telugu means one who is capable. Hence the term Bhagwan means the one who is capable of lighting the divine effulgence, the illumination of wisdom, the eternal inner light of the soul. Can there be anything greater than warning the love of such an omniscient, omnipotent Lord? There is nothing on earth or beyond it which is equal to the divine love. To make all endeavors to earn that love is the whole purpose and meaning of the human existence. To lead a happy life, man needs peace of mind. The mind is like the turbulent Ganga. It has to be restrained by the use of brakes as in a fast-moving vehicle. Dhyana meditation is the brake devised for the control of the mind. Dhyana means one-pointed concentration. All the diseases which afflict man are the result of agitation in the mind. The enormous growth of disease in the world today is due to the loss of peace of mind. To get rid of illness and to lead a calm, healthy life, man has to cultivate mental peace. Man's mind has three kinds of capabilities. One is anekagrta, a wandering mind. Another is sunyata, vacancy, emptiness. The third is ekagrta, single pointed concentration. What is sunyata? It is the state in which the mind goes to sleep with something edifying is being said. The mind is unresponsive to what is good and beneficial. Such a state of mind is called tamasic. It is the blindness of ignorance. Anekagarta, the wandering mind, is an equally undesirable mental state. It also degrades man. Everyone needs one pointed concentration. Then there is one pointed concentration of mind. This is what everyone needs most today. To develop powers of concentration, sports and games are very essential. They serve to promote physical fitness and mental health. Games and sports are to be practiced mainly for keeping the body in good trim. Unfortunately, today the spirit of commercialism is rampant even in the fields of sports and entertainment. When the idea of making money is predominant, concern for health recedes to the background. Sports and the fine arts have become commercial arts and are not practiced for the sake of health or enjoyment. Art has come from heart, but today the heart has been divorced from the arts. The spiritual basis of the latter has been ignored. What the students need today are two things: the spirit of sacrifice, devotion to God, love of the motherland, because people are filled with pride, selfishness, and self interest. They are ceasing to be human. It is supremely important that the qualities of devotion to God, patriotism, and self sacrifice should be developed among the people. For this, the first requisite is the elimination of my and mine. The readiness to sacrifice one's pleasures and comforts for the sake of the nation should be promoted among the students. When there are many high-minded, spiritually oriented students, the nation will achieve peace and security. Be prepared to make any sacrifice for God. Education should be for acquiring knowledge and for facing the challenges of life, not merely for getting a job. Students should not become servile seekers of post in government. They should have faith in God and bow their heads only to the divine. They must be prepared always to make any sacrifice for God and country. Demonic forces have gained strength because the people have lost their faith in the power of God and Dharma. Righteousness. Students should develop self-reliance and self-confidence. They have to adhere to basic qualities such as truth, righteousness, forbearance, and self-sacrifice, which are common to all people without regard to nationality, creed, or language. They must cultivate a broad outlook based on the fact that the divine is present in everyone. There is nothing which they cannot accomplish if they have faith in God and earn God's grace. Discourse at the Institute Auditorium. Purity of mind alone can confer upon it tranquility. The Upanishads have proclaimed in full-throated voice that sacrifice alone leads to immortality. Sacrifice is the chief trait of the pure. Therefore, every student must imbibe and display the spirit of sacrifice in life. The 5 Ds. The universe itself is a university in which every human being is a student. Every student pursues one subject and acquires a degree. Each one chooses a subject he likes, but whatever different subjects they may study, there is one thing common to all of them, one common pursuit and goal: to obtain the degree of divine love. In the cosmic universe, though there are scientific, political, economic, and other studies, what is fundamental to all of them is the spiritual knowledge. Even in the spiritual field, then are There are special subjects. These are one group which may be described as the 5 Ds, that is, dedication, devotion, discipline, discrimination, and determination. Those who have mastered the 5 Ds are qualified to receive God's love. Dedication should be free from ego and envy. Dedication must o- Dedication means offering. As soon as Swami arrived, teachers and students made offerings of flowers and offered their salutation. The flower symbolizes the heart. When you offer the flower of your heart to the Lord, it should be free from the pest of desire, hatred, envy, greed, and the like. Only flowers are offered to the Lord or those whom you revere. The flower of the heart is subject to infestation by two evil creatures. One is ahankara, self-conceit, and the other is asuya, envy. Self-conceit is based on 8 different factors: wealth, physical powers, birth, scholarship, beauty, power, penance. Of these, the arrogance born of wealth is to be despised most. As long as this ahankara, self-conceit, is predominant, it is impossible to recognize the divine or one's spiritual reality. Self-conceit is a great barrier between the individual and God. It has to be utterly demolished. Pride of wealth is another human failing which causes the downfall of man. All forms of pride based on birth, wealth, power, or scholarship have to be given up totally. Only when egoistic pride is offered as a sacrifice at the altar of the divine can man discover his true nature. This is the dedication that is called for as the first step in the spiritual journey. Next comes devotion. This is the highest form of love. Service to Harishkesa is known as bhakti, says the sutra. Devotion means constant contemplation of God. The term bhakti is derived from the root bhaj, to worship. Devotion means loving contemplation of God, repetition of His name, worshipping Him, and doing penance for Him. Service to the Lord is the highest expression of devotion. There is nothing which is not attainable through loving service to the divine. Devotion does not mean merely doing bhajans or performing puja. These forms of devotion at present are based on some kind of self-interest and self-seeking. True devotion should be free from selfishness of any kind. Devotion is not something to be proclaimed or demonstrated. Exhibitionistic devotion may result in disaster. True devotion should be an expression of love both internally and externally. Discipline should be strictly followed in daily life. Next comes discipline. This is most essential for students. From the moment you wake up, you have to carry out your morning ablutions, meditate on God, and then do your prescribed duties in an orderly manner without deviating from the regular routine. Variations in the routine from day to day are undesirable. You should not wake up at 1 hour on one day and at a different time on another day. The day's activities should be regulated by the same schedule. Immediately after finishing the morning course, one should devote in the calm and serene atmosphere of the morning at least for a few minutes to loving meditation on God. The human state is based upon regulation and self-control. These have to be strictly adhered to in daily life. Then comes discrimination. The world is a mixture of good and bad, of joy and sorrow, right and wrong, victory and defeat. In a world replete with such opposites, man has to make constantly the choice between what is right and proper and what is wrong and undesirable. Man should not let himself be guided by the mind. He should follow the direction of the buddhi, intelligence. As long as you follow the mind, you cannot obtain Madhava, divinity. Students must learn to use discrimination. Young people in their tender years tend to follow the inclinations of the mind. They do not rise to the level of their intelligence. Consequently, they are subject to various agitations and frustrations. They have therefore to learn to use their powers of discrimination. I am a human being in this condition. How should I conduct myself so that I may win the respect and regard of others? These are the questions which each student must ask himself. He should inquire on every occasion as to what is the right course and what is to be avoided. He should decide on what he should do and where he should go after due inquiry. Having acquired knowledge, he should not behave like an illiterate, uneducated person. His conduct should be in keeping with his learning. Humility is the index of true education. Without humility, scholarship will lack luster. Discrimination is essential for every student and educated man. Discrimination is the fifth D. It is like the range of a horse. When you want to achieve something, you must have the determination and persistence to secure it by all your efforts. No room should be given for doubts and hesitations. There is nothing on earth which cannot be achieved with firm determination. Starting with dedication, you end with determination. There is no use relying solely on book knowledge or mere intellectual cleverness. There must be firm faith in God as the basis of everything. There is one kind of pest which affects the leaves and branches of a tree. There is another which destroys the root of a tree. Likewise, a hypocrite is human pest which can spoil a good man. The hypocrite is merely an actor. He poses as a devotee externally but is really evil-minded. He leads a double life. It is dangerous to associate it with such persons. Many good men in the world have come to grief because of the association with such pretenders. Worldly and divine love. Love is of two kinds, one related to the physical and the other related to the divine. All the fears and delusions afflicting the world, all the chaos and violence prevalent today are due primarily to physical attachments. These are also responsible for falsehood, corruption, and other evil rampant in society. Divine love knows no differences among individuals and nations. Egoistic attachment and selfishness are at the root of all human troubles and conflicts. Physical love should be confined to strict limits. If the divine consciousness were not present within, of what use would the body be? It would be as useless as a school without teachers, a farm without water, a temple without deity. You must develop divine love. You must be resolute in striving to achieve what you aim at. Only then will your devotion and discipline bear fruit. There is no meaning in parading one's devotion. The external human form has no significance. You must be human in your actions and feelings. By reforming your conduct and purifying your thoughts and actions, sanctify your lives. That alone is true education, which will lead to self realization. Man is divine, take it from me. He is really here on a holy mission for a divine purpose. To consider him as means or weak or sinful is a great mistake. This itself is a great sin. Man must earn his birthright, namely Shanti. Ashanti is for him an unnatural state. His real nature is Shanti. To recover his heritage of Shanti, man tries various methods: accumulation of riches, maintenance of health, mastery of knowledge, and cultivation of the arts. Though these are not fundamental, three basic wants still remain. After all these methods have been tried, the need for reality, for light, and for immortality. Beyond degrees, God's love. Students, your real form is not made up of body, the sense organs, the mind, and the intellect. Satchitananda, the Atma, who is the indwelling witness in you, is your real form. Instead of realizing this truth, people are wasting their lives by identifying themselves with this body. The universe is a great university. By pursuing a variety of studies, literary, scientific, political, economic, and other studies, knowledge is acquired but not peace of mind. Succumbing to the insatiable desire, people are losing peace and leading meaningless lives. It is essential to practice spiritual discipline along with academic studies. Specialization in studies does not help the student to get an integral view of life and its problems. Education should serve to develop a broad outlook and an all-round view of life. It is not enough to acquire degrees. You must learn to acquire God's grace. The means of getting the divine grace are bhakti, devotion, prapatti, surrender, niyama, ethical disciplines, vicharana, inquiry, and diksha, determination. When you succeed in these tests, you will experience the grace of the divine. Every offering to God is devotion. Devotion should manifest itself in every action. Everything done out of love for God and as a offering to God becomes devotion. The devotee is filled with love and shares the love with all the others. The nine different forms of worship are only means to cultivate devotion, but the goal of all them is to experience oneness with the divine. Prapatti means a total surrender, offering everything to the divine. The sense of ego separates the individual from the divine. When the individual offers everything to God, this ego barrier is removed. Of all diseases to which man is prone, the disease arising from ahankara, ego, is the most deadly. The only panacea for this disease is surrender to the will of the divine. Education should be utilized for developing the power of discrimination between right and wrong, good and evil. Without discrimination, a human being is worse than an animal. You need determination to face the challenges of life, which is filled with ups and downs, successes and failures, joys and sorrows. These challenges have to be faced with faith in God. The mind should not be allowed to waver and hope from one thing to the other. A steady mind is the mark of a truly educated person. Life should be governed by definite regulations. Self control is essential for leading a righteous life. Do not get disheartened by failure. Bharata's culture has always laid stress on the well-being of all. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Let all the worlds of happy. You should not be overwhelmed by difficulties that you may encounter in life. They are all transient and they come and go. The source of enduring bliss is within you. Do not give way to weakness of will. The Upanishad declares Na ayam atma bala sinena labhyam. The spirit is not realized by a weakling, Most students are apt to get disheartened when they fail to obtain high marks in an examination. They should, on the contrary, regard it as a challenge to do better in future. Students must develop courage, self-confidence, and determination so that they can face any situation in life. This is the reason for combining spiritual discipline with academic studies. After you complete your studies, you must become ideal mothers. The mother is the most decisive factor in a child's life. A child's future is molded by the mother. You have an obligation to please your parents who are responsible for all that you are. Give joy and satisfaction to them. Thereby you will be ensuring joy and satisfaction for yourself from your children in the years to come. Have high aims in life. Set before yourselves the examples of great men and women who have figured in the history of our country and the world. Take a lesson from their life of sacrifice and heroism wherever you go, whether walk of life you may choose. Bear in mind the honor and glory of the Sathya Sai Institute and prove yourselves in action to be worthy alumni of Institute. Conduct yourselves benefitingly before elders and relations and earn their regard and love. Bring credit to the family in which you are born and the family in which your married life may be spent. Discourse to the students of the Sri Sathya Sai College for Women, Anantapur, 21 January 1988. So I end this video here. Next video will be on Discourse 7th Ascent to the Divine. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks a lot. Namaskar my dear friends.